Abuzuyama kwa babim eba POG media so many piase as je biase na so my Ghana political stories ni bi na ye de eba ba besum mo na ye jemwe pi yembo ne famra yin se mane de ni enso e de hye bo sha ira John Dramani Mahama ebra na je so no so power na so no so to me no way back in a year to a year last year ojina simpie so kan on the manifesto say obey operation recover all and I just say or buy in the first 2 to 3 months and I just say or Tiora committee and almost so airboy you might pa and so it's me uncover a year investigative a year evidence near the idea to almost so edible a year attorney general a year na catching away now. Come on, man, for the and say a cases and also a body attorney general catching the camera quiet a dozen. The science here John Dramani Mahama and she wants a special court for anti-corruption and also be what cases here Timmy speed in at the same call for almost a home boss a year cases mono and ransom your medi then your medi 10 pounds. Now when I Domelevo I didn't seem be able to jump that is also expectation from a baffle bunny after I say best when in as a new ASCJ and say on for timeline and so and two cases are and also by board area is anti-corruption court no abusama is a better bread near body and some on also edit to them
of the National Road Safety, and he belongs to the as the director of conflict resolutions with the NDC and belongs to the NDC legal team. He's done a lot of work for the party over the years, and he also joins me via Zoom. Thank you, gentlemen, for the time on PM Express. Daniel Domelevo, let me start with you because you are the only member of this panel who was on the oral committee. It's your work, basically, that the Attorney General was updating the country on. And recently, you were on, I believe, the KSM show, on which you said a few things about the pace of investigations. You said, quote, with the briefing that Attorney General has been giving, a lot of work is going on, but am I satisfied? No, I can't see the end of the tunnel, not to talk of the light at the end of the tunnel. It begs one question. Were they prepared before coming to office? Because when I look at the quantum of money we should recover and the snail speed at which we are moving, I wonder when we are going to get there. I think we have to change the speed at which we are moving and let people gain the confidence that things are moving and moving very fast. You heard that Attorney General today. Satisfied now?
First, let me say that what you quoted are excerpts of my interview. So it is not really correct. I stated something different before talking about the pace. I said the legal framework for prosecuting corruption and corruption-related cases, including ORA, does not allow a fast tracking of it. So it will go slowly. And if we don't make some basic changes like reversed burden, putting time limit on prosecution of corruption cases, and stop in trial appeals so that the cases can be brought to finality on time, I can't see the tunnel, not to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. So it is true that you heard me, but you didn't hear me correctly, because what KSM did was to pin a lot of excerpts together. But yes, the update given today by the Attorney General is good. And I said the same thing on the KSM show. I said there's a lot of work going on. But my dissatisfaction is not coming from the work which is going on. But my dissatisfaction has to do with the legal system itself, the laws that govern this process, the institutional arrangement. I was Auditor General. I remember in my cases, at times you go to court, less than 15 minutes, the judge defers or postpones the case for the next 3 months. So this will go on, and you are a witness to several of these corruption-related cases that travel several years. That is what I'm complaining about. But what Attorney General and the team are doing is commendable.
Specifically today, what you heard from the AG, which part of that would you say pleased you the most? There were, as far as the oral cases are concerned, he updated us today. Was the buffer stock part of it? I believe so. It was. He updated us. He updated us today on that. He has charges now. He's going to file them on Friday.
Yes, he said that, and he talked about the national service also. So I think all the updates that he gave today were quite good. It is not a process. Let me state my view here. I have no problem with the speed at which Attorney General is moving and even filing the case at court. My fear is when the cases reach the court, what happens from there? That is where the lawyers do what they know how to do best. They pick one point, they go on appeal, come back. When they start hearing the case again, they start another appeal. So to delay the case, like you have seen in several cases in the past. So as for the work being done is okay. I am only worried about the legal framework, which allows these cases to go on for a very long time. And if you listen to the interview I granted, I quoted an example in China where the former minister of Agric was tried within 3 months. I think 3 or 4 months. The trial was completed. So that is the point I'm making. I'm not saying we should try our cases in 3 months, but if 1 year is okay, yes, let's go for it so that we can limit these trials so that it doesn't continue forever. Thank you.
Daniel, please stay with me. I'll come back to you on some of the other specifics he talked about today. But let me come to Bawumia. Bawumia, that's the Daniel Domelevo's view on it. He was a member of the committee. His work was basically one that the Attorney General updated us on. He says what he said is he's happy. It's commendable. You don't disagree, do you?
Thank you very much. Let me commence by stating that the need for accountability once you hold public office, for me, is absolute. It's non-negotiable. And so we should demand from public office holders accountability. In fact, once that culture is established, everybody who occupies public office will be mindful of his actions and inactions. I think that the situation we have experienced over the years in this country, where people go to public office and come out very wealthy, is inappropriate. And if care is not taken, there will be one day, like it happened many years ago in 1981, and it's happening across the globe now, there might be some insurgency, which we would not find acceptable. And so it is good. However, accountability must be within the confines of the law. Ghana is the creation of law, the constitution of the country. The Attorney General's position is the creation of Article 88. In fact, it is the only ministerial or cabinet position which is specifically mentioned in the Constitution. And so the Attorney General's role, very respectfully, just like other provisions of the Constitution, must be respected. And it is in the same vein that I think the Attorney General would also have to respect other provisions of the Constitution. That is, for instance, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. The Attorney General will have to respect that. And we all have to appreciate that point, that, look, everyone who is accused of an offense until convicted, tried and convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction is innocent. Mr. Domelevo mentioned the case of China. In 2001, the trial of Victor Salome was less than 2 years. And so I don't know the facts of the case Mr. Domelevo is mentioning or is seized with. But it is not only in China that public office holders have been tried in record time. In Ghana, the Republic versus Victor Salome, it was done within record time. And so it is possible even in our jurisdiction. We, however, need to be mindful of the facts of each case. And so I'm not aware of the facts in China, but we need to appreciate or acknowledge that in Ghana it has also happened before. Each case turns on its individual facts, and we need to acknowledge that.
Okay, specifically though, I want your view on, give me your verdict on what you heard today. Are you satisfied with the Attorney General's approach? Again,
the Attorney General's approach is problematic.
Why?
Firstly, he is not just the Attorney General. He's also the Minister of Justice. Indeed, there's prosecutorial responsibility, which means that you need to approach prosecution bearing in mind the presumption that the accused person, may be innocent. In fact, the Attorney General himself was the lawyer for Tagore, right? Tagore had been...
The Evan Benjamin case.
The Evan Benjamin case. He became the lawyer for Tagore when he went on appeal. Tagore had been crucified in the...
He was convicted, was he not?
Firstly, he was crucified. The public was made to believe that he was a drug baron. He had engaged in drug trafficking and so on and so forth. He was prosecuted at the High Court. He was convicted and sentenced. When he went to the Court of Appeal, he was acquitted and discharged. What that means is that we have to be careful what we say about people from professional perspective, because if care is not taken, we'll end up convicting innocent people in the public domain, which is why I was very worried today hearing some of the things the Attorney General said. I'll give you an example. To say, for instance, in putting out the facts in respect of the case of...
the buffer stock?
The buffer stock. I heard him say, even on the account of this, I can succeed.
But that's it. So, subscribe to POG Media. I just drop a subscription. That's it. On share media is what share no for so answer so etimi can bet me so slide into the comment section or now so etimi edin komo eda faju media. So the be as media no enso ebetimi abeya ka be share na ensaban na Domelevo ede tu dwa no ka me akoye say Pesa Attorney General and the year humanity a kwan so no inam say we need the necessary resources and the amount of lawyers are almost betimi aboa no na chese ono so etimi any cases no enso abo e record and all like resources in intisa idea we and I say yes anti-corruption court no and also betimi aboa no ama ono to dwumadi and so etimi aso ani
on a charge of abusing public office for profit. And so he's putting pressure on himself. He's tried the case in the public domain.
He's seen the evidence. He's updating us. He's expressing his confidence. Lawyers do that all the time. Of course, if you're going to prosecute the case, you must believe in what you're taking to court.
Don't forget, there are always two sides to a case. What the investigator heard, the Attorney General may not have sat through the investigations. Third parties did the investigations. They gathered the evidence. The Attorney General wasn't there. He's been given the evidence by the third parties. The third parties have put certain judgment to the evidence. Based on that, you think that, yes, you have a case. You go to court, and then there will be the scrutiny of cross-examination. At that point, you realize that what you thought was the position or your judgment in terms of the rightfulness of your judgment may not have been so. And so at that point, you will not succeed. That is when he will come out and accuse the court. Don't forget, the Attorney General has the penchant of always accusing our courts, even when he was in opposition. And I now appreciate why he was doing that.
Why?
Because he was always looking at the case from his perspective.
But that's just what he must do.
Every good lawyer goes to court, not looking at a case from his perspective. You look at the case from your perspective, the perspective of the lawyer on the other side, and what the judge possibly may also think about it.
But this was an update to the country.
That is why you don't put out such an update.
You're saying that he should not have given us today's update?
No, give an update, but manage the public expectation, particularly because an evidence does not, stand the test or does not become, in terms of evaluation of evidence, the court will evaluate it after it has been tested, right? And at this point, it hasn't been tested.
Give me a second. Abraham Aleba, what's your view on this? Do you have Abraham on the line? Please unmute for me.
If you
just a second. I'll come back.
Because if you go to...
I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Let me finish. Let me conclude on this point.
I'll come back to you. Trust me, I'll come back to you. I want him to weigh in on this.
I'll
come back to you.
Give me just 1 minute.
I'll return to you.
You will come to it
I'll return to you. I want him to weigh in on this, and then I'll come back to you, and then I get other views on.
1 minute.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Let me get him to weigh in briefly. I'll come back to you. Don't worry about it. I'll come back to you. Yes, weigh in on this for me.
Yeah, Evans. Don't forget that in the last elections, part of what the NDC presented to the Ghanaian people was to fight corruption. And don't also forget that under the previous administration, there were allegations and scandals almost every other week. And so if you come to power, you need to account to the people. And you are also aware, and you were referencing Domelevo on this matter, you are also aware that there's so much dissatisfaction regarding the speed at which prosecutions are ongoing. So what the Attorney General sought to do, or has been doing, is just to update the people and carry them along and let the people of this country know that oral is still on the front burner.
By the way, are you one of those dissatisfied with the pace?
Say it again.
Are you one of those dissatisfied with the pace?
Well, I've never spoken. I know Dominic Ayene, who is my senior in chambers, as a very meticulous person, and I know that he won't rush to go to court unless he's done all the things that he's doing now by ticking the boxes. But I also knew that when he starts the prosecution, it was not going to be something that we will say that is slow. But like I'm saying, at this point, Dominic Ayene, as an Attorney General, believes in his case. And I disagree that if you believe in your case, you should begin to disbelieve in your case because the other lawyer may have a superior argument. You believe in your case, that's why you are going to court. And so what we are seeing is not pronouncing people guilty, but what we are seeing is the Attorney General updating the Ghanaian people. And when you read his statement, the first paragraph, the opening statement was that it was to the sovereign people of this country, because it was one of the grounds upon which these elections were fought. So I disagree with him entirely, and thinking that what he is doing is defaming people. What he's doing has nothing to show that he's defaming people, but what he's doing is accounting to the people, and I don't think that that should be a problem to anybody. It's only criminals.
What Bawumia makes says is you can update us on where you are with investigations. That's different from now saying that on a particular allegation, you are confident of securing the conviction of a man who is innocent until proving otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction.
When we go to court as lawyers and we stand before the judge and we are making our submissions, it is based on our conviction that we will win the case. Ask Bawumia whether that's a lie. And so,
except that the Attorney General is no ordinary lawyer, he's also the Minister of Justice.
And so, as an Attorney General, Minister of Justice, has he deprived the accused person or the suspects their rights to defend themselves? No. What he has done has not taken away the rights of suspects or accused persons to defend themselves.
Okay, Bafo.
Okay. So when you go to court as a lawyer, be it in a criminal matter or a civil matter, even your evidence, what that you consider to be the basis of your case, there's the possibility that it might not be admissible. I'll give you an example. In the Republic versus the Bafuboni matter, the NCA matter, a witness, a statement, right, of one of the accused persons, which was the key foundation of the prosecution's case, right, was deemed inadmissible. The court rejected it. Okay, if it had been today, I'm sure on the basis of that statement, the Attorney General would have held a press conference and said, the accused person has given us a statement where he has confessed to the commission of the offense, right? And on the basis of that statement alone, we are likely to secure a conviction. And so these are some of the reasons why, from where I sit as a trial lawyer, I am of the view that the Attorney General, in his update, needs to manage the facts. This is a position I've maintained not just in respect of the Attorney General, but also the OSP. Because over the years, such, updates in the manner which they have done, very detailed manner, right, have resulted in a situation where the public expectation has been heightened. And when there is no, the expectations are not met, the public tend to think that you are not working. But you forget that in the courtroom, it's not the AG's court. In the courtroom, you have another lawyer coming.
Let me bring Adam. Adam, is the AG putting unnecessary pressure on himself, considering that the oral was a partisan campaign promise already, and today he spent quite a bit of time talking about pressure. And then he goes through the list of his bosses, the president, the chief of staff, Callistus, trying to tell us that none of them is giving me pressure here. But he's obviously feeling the pressure because he references it. I mean, Amaliba has also talked about it. And then he gives us this update. And then he says, if you do it the way he's done it, you create more expectation. And then that brings unnecessary pressure that then you're tempted to railroad people, although you are Minister of Justice too. Where do you sit on that?
Well, first of all, I mean, if you take, for example, Act 959, those of us who were involved in crafting it for the OSP, where we said every 6 months come and report to the public, it was because we had a certain context where the level of disillusionment and nothing is happening and nothing's going to happen. So don't even bother.
In fact, investigations we tend to now know has become a cover for not doing anything.
Exactly.
They just say we are investigating and then...
Exactly.
Medazi so come on able Eddie Media say POG Media the Ghana authentic political headlines and updates are a POG Media so pay and also sabeti me account who the echo and the urban na my Ghana political ASPs now subscribe here make sure to drop subscription now was share of from so answer so etimi account who the echo and the urban na with so slide into the comment section now so etimi edin komo e the Media Medazi so jebre and now cap POG we be